Morning, everybody. Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. We're learning an Amud today of the Heilige Gemara. We are in Daf Chaf Gimel Amud Beis in Maseches Kiddushin, and we are learning about the halachas of how an Eved Knaini can become free. One of the ways of an Eved Knaini to become free is by somebody else giving kesef, very good, giving money to the master. Once the master receives money from the liberator, from the one who wants to free the Eved, then the master he frees the slave. The slave goes free, and all is good, or not so good, but the slave is out. Now we have a machlokes of Rabbi Meir and Chachamim in the Mishnah, in which 1 second, sorry, no, I'm not in the right place. You have in Chav Gimel Amud Beis. We're in the two dots. Yeah, Bilvad kesef mishel acherim. That's where we are. Chav Gimel Amud Beis. The words are Bilvad kesef mishel acherim. We saw machlokes in the Mishnah between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim. Rabbi Meir says that the money given to the master can only be given by other people. Let's say the Eved is worth $3 million. Whoever wants to liberate the Eved has to give $3 million of his own pocket. You cannot give the Eved, according to Rabbi Meir, you cannot give the Eved the $3 million and not even $1. You cannot give it to him, and the Eved himself will obtain the money, then give it to the master. According to Rabbi Meir, that does not work. According to Chachamim, it does. According to Chachamim, yes, you may give the Eved the money in order to, whatever, I'm not even going down there, we're going to discuss it later. You may give the Eved the money, and then the Eved gives that money that now belongs to him, to the Eved, he may give it to the master. That's what Chachamim say. Okay? In other words, the question is, does it have to be only directly from the liberator to the Adon, to the master, or do the liberators give the money to the Eved? The Eved owns the money now, and then the Eved himself gives his own money to the master. That's a machlokes of Meir and Rabbanan. Okay?
No, just a thing.
Already question.
That's without
That's quick.
That's without the Eved's permission for the money.
That's not the discussion right now. That's not the discussion right now. That's a different discussion. Yesterday we had, that's a different question, whether the Eved, it's for his detriment or is it a benefit from him to be out of the Adon. That's another machlokes. Rabbi Meir discusses, Rabbi Meir, you happen to be right, that Rabbi Meir says, acherim, you happen to be right though. According to Rabbi Meir, although normally you cannot work on behalf of somebody else without their permission, here you can. By kesef, there's a special limud, special halacha, that even if the Eved doesn't know about it, he can still work on his behalf. That's true. Now, says the Gemara, suggests the Gemara, let's try and understand what is the point of machlokes, what's the bone of contention between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim. This Shiur is Leilu Nishmas Rabbi Meir and Menachem and Akiva Rus Bas Shalom Sar Bas Moshe Viva Bas Moshe Lefuas Pnina Chai Bas Gil Rochel Chana Batzima, and of course a tzloch of all the soldiers for the success, and for the hatzala of the captive people. Let's say that they argue on the following. The Rabbi Meir Sova, Rabbi Meir believes, Ein kinyan le'eved beloy raboy, ben kinyan le'isha beloy bailo. Rabbi Meir believes that other people, in other words, let's start from zero. Everybody knows that an Eved does not have money of his own. An Eved cannot, let's say, pick, I'm giving the example on purpose, the specific example. If an Eved walks down the street on his way from the house to the factory, and the Eved finds an envelope with $1 million in it, and he picks it up, it cannot be his. Why? Because the Eved, Mashekono Eved, Kono Raboy, whatever an Eved has, automatically goes to the master. Him and the master are one and the same. He is part of the master's ownership. Now, a woman has nothing really to do with the sugya. It's just an example, because we're going to talk about it later. A woman who's married and supported by her husband, by the way, a woman may opt to not being supported by her husband. That's in the Ksubas, I think, in Aleph. And in his honest Vani also, a woman who's in a classical kind of financial agreement with her husband, whatever she has, her husband's supposed to get it. He supports her. She has to give him whatever she finds in the street. However, here we have a different question. Here we have people who actually gave the money to the Eved? That's a question. It's called Da'as Acheres Makno. In other words, it's not that the Eved just found it in the street and he is the one koine and he doesn't have the independence to make his own kinyan. Other people bestowed it upon him. They gave him the money, so therefore maybe here it's a bit different. Yeah, because they are the power. Maybe they can break that cycle, the other people, the givers of the money, and give the money to the Eved, yes or no? Says Rabbi Meir, assumes the Gemara, Rabbi Meir thinks, no, you can't do that. An Eved never has any kind of kinyan, even if the best, well-meaning people in the world, they do the maisa of the money, they give it, they do the transaction actively, doesn't help. Because says Rabbi Meir, an Eved never has kinyan without the Rav. Once you give it to the Eved, automatically, by default, yeah, just like that, spontaneously, the Odon right away becomes the owner. An Eved just doesn't have kinyan. Yeah, that's what we think right now. And the same thing would be for a woman, Rabbanon Sabri, Rabbanon who believe that the Eved himself may give the money himself to the master. Sabri, they think Yeshkin and Eved below Raboy, the Yeshkin Elisha below Baila. Maybe Rabbanon think otherwise. Rabbanon say that an Eved may have kinyan. In other words, he may acquire from other people. A woman may acquire from other people the money. And then with that money, they go and the Eved frees himself. That's what we're trying to suggest at the beginning. That's according to Rabbi Meir. The Eved cannot have anything to do with the money. And according to Rabbanon, you can. Simple. Omar Rabba, Omar of Sheshes, says Rabba on behalf of Sheshes, no, I would change that. I would tweak it. The Kula Alma, everybody agrees. Who's Kula Alma? Both Rabbi Meir and Rabbanon. They both believe Ein Kinin Levet Bolo Rabbi, Ben Kin Elisha Bolo Baila. Which means even if other people gave them, were makne, gave them the money, it won't help. An Eved and a woman, they don't have kinyan as of themselves. They're not bari kinyan, even with other people, kol sheken if they found a finding in the street. By the way, I just want to point out, there is one person, at least in the world, where it does make a difference whether he found it in the street and used koine from Hefker, or if other people gave it to him. Who is that? Starts with a K. Yeah, with a kuf. Cotton, a cotton from a certain age, a cotton doesn't have his own yad to be koine. A cotton cannot find anything from Hefker, it belongs to the tate of the cotton. Mashenkin, if a person is makne to the cotton, if a person is giving the item, the money to the cotton may have a kinyan. Yeah, a cotton is half independent. That's a different story. I just gave an example. Don't go down that lane now. To broaden our horizons. Well, what is the machlokes between Rabbi Meir and Rabbanon over here? If they both agree that an Eved cannot have a kinyan independently, so how can Chachamim say what they say, right? That the Eved does give money to the Odoin. There is some level of independence here. So what are they arguing about? Answers the Gemara, according to Rabbi of Sheshes, the Akdile Acher Mone, another person gave him the money, it's 100, let's say, okay, that is, as we said before. However, Omar Lei, and he told the Eved, he told the slave, I'm making a condition specifically, I'm making a verbal, clear condition. The only way I'm willing to give you the money is on condition that your master will not have authority over the money. Oh, in other words, not like I said before. Beforehand, we spoke about someone whose time gave him money. Hey, you're a nice guy, Mr. Eved. I'm a rich guy. I want to help the Eved. I say, take the money. Goodbye. That doesn't help. Because if I told the Eved, take the money, and I gave him the money, and he did a gvo, he is the master's Eved. And therefore everything belongs to the master. However, if I'm the giver, and I specifically said, I'm giving it to you only on condition that the master will not have anything to do with it, that is already a reason for machloikis. Rabbi Meir thinks as follows: Ki omer le kni. Once the giver told the Eved kni, you obtain it, you buy it, you get it. You know what happens at that very, very second automatically? Kani Eved v'kani Rabbi. Both Eved and automatically the same second, the Rav, the master, was also koine. That's it. He belongs to the master. If you give something to my hand, mine. Yeah. V'chi omer le almenas. Once he told him on condition that, on condition that it will be so and so, not belonging to the master, too late. Loi klum ka omer le. He didn't tell him anything. It's as if he told him nothing. Yeah, this is, by the way, very similar to Rabbi Meir, which we saw a few dapim ago about matnal mashikosov batoilo. I don't know. I didn't see people comparing it, but it's very similar. In other words, once you do something within the rules of the Torah, and the Torah is stronger than us, and the Torah says whatever an Eved is koine, the Rav is koine, the master, and now you said kni, you be koine the money, and the Eved picked up the money, it's automatically belonging to who? To the master. And then you say almenas, even if you say it 1 second later, almenas is too late. In other words, according to Rabbi Meir, it's a reality. Reality cannot be changed. Let's say you strike a match, and you say, I'm striking a match, almenas, that the flame want a good match with a good matchbox, a real good, healthy new one, not the ones who barely work yet, and you strike a match, almenas, that a flame won't flare. That's, unless you're a world-class magician, it's not going to work. Yeah? You strike a match, the fire will come. And then you say, almenas, that I want the fire to be cold. That's very cute. That's what Rabbi Meir says. Once you give the Eved and you say kni, the master is the owner, finished, of the money. Almenas, that's empty talk. It's like saying to a woman, Aret mukudeshes li almenas shen l'chalash cherksus v'oino. Says Rabbi Meir, that doesn't work. Yes, mechuyev to give Rav cherksus v'oino. Yep. Now that's Rabbi Meir. The Rabbanon Savri, and Rabbanon, what do they think? Kevan the Omer le almenas, ahani le tnoi. Rabbanon say no. Rabbanon say because you said almenas, since you said I'm giving you the money to the Eved on condition that so and so is going to happen, and only you will be the owner, not the master. Ahani le tnoi. Rabbanon believe that yes, you may make it tonight. In other words, I'm the one being makne. I'm the one being makne. The cards are in my hands, and I decided that the whole akno can work only if I want the Eved and not the master to be the bailim. Tnai can work. Tnoim work all over the Torah. Yeah, but Metzia Daf Tzadidalid. Tnoim work, and here too, the Tnai works. That's how Rabbah and Rav Sheshes believe it works. So again, what's the machloikes? Can you or can you not tell an Eved, Arei your money, almenat kni, be koine, I want you to acquire it, on condition, verbal, clear, precondition, prerequisite, that the master will not be an owner. I want it to stay by you and not be owned by him. According to Rabbi Meir, that's a joke. It's an oxymoron, yeah? I want the match to be, to strike it and strike the match and no fire. Decide what you want. It's possible. No, it's not like striking a match. It's all up to the owner's, to the giver's mind, and he decided that the Eved will be the only owner. This is Kiddushin Chav Gimel Amud Beis. That's a condition. Now, Rabbi Lozo is learning. Rabbi Lozo explains Machloikes Rabbi Meir and Tanakama differently, in a different way. Rabbi Lozo says more conservatively. Rabbi Lozo is more conservative over here. Omar. Kol ki agavna de kul alma loy pligi de kani eved v'koni rabbi. Kol ki agavna, in such a case of what? A person telling a master, an eved, it's yours on condition that the master doesn't own it. Everybody agrees that doesn't work. It's against reality. Koni eved koni rabbi. Eved by definition is the hand of his owner, and he can't say, I want to give it to I'll give Peretz a gift. I want Peretz to receive it to his hand, but not to his hand. What are you talking about? Yeah, to his right hand, but not left hand. It's one person. So you can't work against it. Even Chachamim agree to that. So how do Chachamim say that over here the Eved can own something? What is the story over here? Different. Again, it's another person, another well-wishing liberator who wants to give the Eved money. The Omer Lei, listen to the slight but important difference. What did he tell the Eved? Almenas shetetze boy lecherus. I'm giving you the money on condition that you'll use it for one thing and one thing only, and that is that you'll give it to your master to be liberated. In other words, don't use it on drugs, don't use it on alcohol, Don't even use it to buy Mesil Sisholim. Don't use it for anything else. I want you to use it for one purpose only, to give it to Mr. Master in order to liberate yourself, to buy yourself back from him. That is what the story is about. And soon we'll see the difference. Let's continue. Rabbi Meir says, Ki Omer le Kni. Once you said the magic word to David, Kni, Koni Eved v'Koni Rabbi. Boom. You can't get out of that loop, can't get out of that vicious cycle, says Rabbi Meir. Once you told an Eved, you be koine, you struck the match. That's it. You struck the match, there's fire. The master is already an owner. The Chi Omer le'al minas. Then you say, on condition that so and so, loy klum ka omer le. He did not tell him klum. What's klum? Nada. Nothing. Garnished. You're talking nonsense. Excuse my language. There is no such thing. Because the Eved is the master and finished. Yeah, it's a long arm. You can't change reality with all goodwill in the world. The Rabbanon Savri, Rabbanon over here, they say as follows. Rabbanon is a more of a dakus dika point. Ledidei nami haloka maknilei. I did not give the Eved the money. When the giver told the Eved, I'm giving you money so you should free yourself with the money, one and only one purpose. You may prefer to buy with it alcohol or maybe Sefer Kodesh, or maybe you want to buy a trip to Japan. I don't know what you want to do with it. Go back home to the Philippines. No. The one and only purpose that I gave you the money for is what? Only in order to be free. And therefore, I did not really give it to the Eved, right? I didn't give it to him to be his. The Haloi Omer Lei, because he did not tell him Ella only al menashe tetzeboy lecheirus, which means Rabbanan also agree, according to the Amoiro, according to the current Amoiro, which is Rabbi Elozo, the way he understands Chachamim is as follows. What does he say? Even Chachamim are more conservative. They don't think an Eved can have his own money. Even if a person said to an Eved, I'm giving you this money. Oh, sweetheart, such a misken Eved. Take the money. It should be only yours, and not the Eved, and not the master's. That's a mistake. The mistake just doesn't work. You can't have the Eved independently of the Adon owning anything. Mashenkin over here, the case is, I'm not really giving you the money. I'm giving you the money for one purpose only. That is not called full ownership of the Eved either. I have my interest over here that you should give the money to your Odon in order that you should become free, and that's it. And therefore, I'm now not giving you the money either. I'm not creating a whole autonomy, a whole autonomous situation. You have like financial autonomy. You own the money to do whatever you want with it. No. You can only have the money for one purpose. That's not called proper ownership. Let's say you give your kid 10 shekels, 20 shekels. I don't know how educational that is. Dmei Chanukah, fine. Do whatever you want with it. Take the 20 shekels and you hope it doesn't buy, I don't know what, yeah? But if you said, go get the 20 shekels in order to buy only one specific thing and nothing else, that is not exactly ownership. It's very, very limited. And that's why Chachamim believe that it works. Before I hear your questions, okay, I can see a lot of fingers above Hashem. Let's just summarize. There are 3 levels here. There are 3 levels. If a person gave an Eved money without saying anything, clearly it does not belong to the Eved. Mashikono Eved kono raboy, if no conditions were made. Second level, the other people told the Eved, I want you to own the money and not the master. According to Rabbah and Rav Sheshes, that's Machlokes Rabbein and Rabbanon. Rabbanon believe that makes sense. You may make a condition that you're the owner of the money, the giver. Your money is your schus to do whatever you want with it. Yeah, we all relate to that the capitalist idea. Oh, good. Yeah, and therefore, if I'm the owner of the money, I'm the master over my money. I decided that I want only the Eved to own it and not his master. According to Chachamim, it works. Now, third level, more constricted. We become more and more constricted, more and more mitzumtzam. According to Rabbi Lazar, the only time Chachamim believe that an Eved may own something is if the giver told him, I'm giving you the money. No, it's not your money. It's only yours for one. You know how many things you can do with money? 10 million things you can do with your money, right? Hekdesh Kiddushin, you can buy 10 million products, go online, you can see the whole world. But She'enken, if they told him, I'm giving you the money for one purpose only, you should give it to your master. and the master would free you, that's not called really the Eved owning it. And therefore, Chachamim say that works. So there are three levels: either no condition, condition that the Eved will own it, or condition that the Eved will only own it for one purpose, and that is giving it to the Odin, then it works. That's Chachamim. Where does Rabbi Meir stand? If I was to make a chart, Rabbi Meir would only have one column. Rabbi Meir says, yeah, 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 yeah. Rabbi Meir says there's no such thing as an Eved owning anything under any circumstances, with condition, with a constricted condition. I don't care. Says Rabbi Meir, once you told the Eved Kni, automatically the Adon is koine. If the Adon is koine, the Adon is koine. So you can never ever have the Eved freeing himself with his own money. There is no such thing as the Eved's own money, not even in very limited way, according to Rabbi Meir. The only way is, according to Rabbi Meir, is if the other people, correctly with or without the knowledge of the Eved, other people go over the head of the Eved, Baruch Hashem, and they give it to straight to the master, their money. Mr. Rich Guy is giving another, Mr. Owner of Eved is giving the money. The Eved has nothing to do with it. The Eved goes free. That is the Sikkum up until now. Question time for you, and I can have my tea meanwhile. Yeah. End of Chav Gimel Amud Beis. V'rami de Rabbi Meir ad Rabbi Meir, v'rami de Rabbanon de Rabbanon, which means we're going. What's Rami in the Gemara? Rami always means when we bring together, when we basically show the contradiction between two statements made by the same Tana, yeah, or by the same Amoiro, or by different psukim. Rami means we're going to now show the stark difference and contradiction between one statement of Rabbi Meir to another statement of Rabbi Meir, and also to show another contradiction between Rabbanon and Rabbanon. So let's again just remind ourselves, what was the last stage in Rabbi Meir and Rabbanon Machloikes? What did Rabbi Lozer say? According to Rabbi Meir, if a person said, I'm giving you this, Mr. Eved, in order that you should give it to your owner, and only in order to free yourself, I'm giving you a very, like a keyhole purpose for this and this only purpose, I'm giving you the money. According to Chachamim, it works. The Eved now is not a full owner, but is enough of an owner for this purpose. And Rabbi Meir says, leave me alone. Once he said Kni, he belongs to the master without any other kavanos, and he can't say Alminas. Now we're going to see Rabbi Meir and Rabbanon in one brisa. Rabbi Meir and Rabbanon both say the opposite of what we just said now. Yes, and everything will be okay at the end of the story. Don't worry. The Tanya, it says in the brisa. Before we continue to the brisa, I want to remind you of what you already know, and I know you know it from Bov Metzia, yeah, in the Naf Nun Hey area, and that is as follows: what happens if a person wants to take his Meiser Sheni, and instead of going to the holy city of Jerusalem, what does he want to do with it? What? Eat it there. Is poida. In other words, in order to be poida, you have to have two ingredients in the menu, in the recipe. You have to have Peres Meiser Sheni. You have to have money, and now you transfer the kedusha of the Peres Meiser Sheni outside Yerushalayim in Bet Shemesh. You now poida them. You do it today too. You poida them on a coin. All very nice. Now, do you have to give choimesh or not? Do you have to give an extra fifth, which is really an extra fourth, by the way, or no? Yeah. Depends who you are. Who has to give an extra fifth? It says in the Torah. Well, of course you know it. Yeah. Who has to? Let's say the grapes are worth 40 shekels. Yeah. And now you have to be poided on, let's say, 50 shekels. Yeah. A coin, let's say, 50 shekels. Who has to do that? It says it in the Bible. V'im goel igal ish mimaisroi. If a man is goel his own meiser, if you're the owner of the meiser, when I'm stressing this because it's important to know, if you're the owner of the grapes and the money, you're the balabos over everything. V'chamishisoy Yosef Olov. You have to add a fifth. If you're the person who's actually the owner of the business, of the meiser and the money, then you have to pay. You have to give an extra fifth. Yeah, don't deposit it over whatever the amount. Give an extra fifth for that. Now, and if you're not, let's say I'm doing you a favor and I'm poided your meiser on my money. I'm taking the grapes of Ellen and I'm mechalel the kedusha of the meiser sheni over my money. I don't have to give I don't have to give the choimesh. Yeah, the 40 shekels grapes will go on 40 shekels money. The truth is, you don't have to. There's more to say about the money, but let's just take that as an example. That's what we have to know. What about a woman and her husband? A husband and his wife. What happens with a husband and a wife? That the wife now wants to be part of the meiser of her husband. Let's see what the Brisa has to say. It says as follows: Ein isha poida meiser sheni beloy choimesh. A woman always has to give choimesh. Let's assume she's now working on her husband's behalf. Her husband has some clusters of grapes, yeah, and the woman is doing the mice, not the meiser, the pidyon for the husband. A woman can do that. It's something a woman can do. A woman can take meisers. A woman can do the pidyon, and now the woman always has to give choimesh, meaning she's considered as the owner. She's part of the ownership, whatever that means. We're going to see later. Remember the name, Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says, Isha poide meiser sheni beloy choimesh. Rabbi Meir says if the woman is poide the meiser sheni of her husband, then she's considered to be a stranger. She's considered to be the other, somebody outside the ownership, and therefore she may do that without choimesh. Yeah, if I do the pidyon on Ellen's fruit, a stranger, then I don't have to give choimesh. So there's the machloikas here. Does the woman or doesn't the woman have to give choimesh over her husband's meiser? Is she considered this part of the husband, or is she a separate authority, separate entity? I'm talking very general now on purpose, because now we're going to cut this into pieces and analyze it. Echidami, frag the Gemara, what's Echidami? In nice crisp English, what's going on over here? That's what Echidami means. How's our scrollies? How is it? Echidami, what's the story? Answers Ilema, if you want to tell me, Bezuzi de Baal, if she took money of the husband, Umaiser de Baal, if all the ingredients, as I call them, both the fruit and the money belong to the husband, so what is she now? A shlicha, not a Chabad shlicha, shlicha of her husband. What is she? Shlichus de Baal, ka'avdo. She's doing the shlichus of the husband. And by the way, she doesn't have to be his wife. She can be his grandmother's next door neighbor's shviger. In other words, she's just a shlicha, right? If it's totally, completely, exclusively owned by the husband, the fruit and the money, he's saying, oh, darling, do you mind? I'm on my way to work now. There's this pidyon to do. Of course, I'll do it for you, honey. She's just what? A shlicha. Does she have to give choimesh? Clearly, yes. It's like him, from his money. She's just a shlicha. So obviously, it's like him doing it through a shliach. Shlucha shel adam ke ma'aseh. So what's the question? So how do you entertain the idea of her not giving choimesh? She's him, yeah, like any shliach, yeah. If I ask you, Ellen, please take meiser, not take meiser, put them my meiser, here's my money, here are my grapes. Of course, you have to give choimesh, not from you. You have to give choimesh from me. What's the story? The ela must be bezuzi dida umeiser didei. Oh, must be. What's dida? Hers. Didei, his. If the money must be, the money is hers, how can a woman have her own money? There are many ways a woman can have her own money, by the way. Says Rashi, you're quick on the draw today. In other words, she has money from before the wedding, and now she has karka. The karka belongs to her, and the fruit go to the husband. We'll discuss it more later. She has her own money. Let's say now she's doing him a favor. The meister is his. He's telling her, hey, dear wife, I have this cluster of grapes here. Can you do the mice? Can you do the transfer on your own money? Yeah. So the fruit belonged to Reuven and the money belonged to Shprinza Bela, the wife. If so, obviously, what would you say? Do you have to give? And it's her money exclusively, independently. Do you have to give choimesh? Correct, you don't. Why? Because that's a strange person. She's not a stranger, but financially, in that case, yes. And we accentuate that by proving it from a pasuk. It says in the pasuk, "Ish Omar Rachmana veloy Isha." In other words, says Rashi, because it says in the pasuk, the Ish, the pasuk I read to you says, "Ish mimaiso im godigal ish mimaiso." A man has to give choimesh from his own pidyon, but another man or another woman, they don't. Yeah. Choices, and therefore what? And therefore what? And therefore, again, if it's so, in other words, the question, to summarize the question, when on earth would you have a machloikis between Chachamim and Rabbi Meir, whether the woman is a stranger or not? Mimanavshach. it's definitely his fruit. Otherwise, there's no case. If it's her fruit and her money, there's no question. If it's his fruit and his money, it's him. Then of course she has to give choimes. She's stam like a robot. She's doing it for him. And if it's his fruit and her money, then clearly she's a stranger, and clearly she does not have to give choimes. So when on earth do we have that middle of the road tricky case that there's a machloikis and a common in Rabbi Meir whether she's like part of the party or a stranger? When would that happen? Before we continue, I want to share with you an idea from Tosfos, very interesting. Tosfos is saying, why do you need a pasuk to say ish v'lo isha? It's not a gender-related issue. Would that be a nice YouTube title? Gender-related, huh? Yeah, very in fashion today. In other words, let's say I'm taking your meiser with my money. I'm not a woman, I'm a man. And what? And I'm taking my money with your meiser. Then of course I don't have to give choimish, right? So why did the Torah say isha machmana v'lo isha? It's not an ish v'lo isha. Pashut, it's her money. She's a separate entity, and that's why she doesn't have to give the choimish. Answers Tosfos Enochinami. Tosfos has a whole different shot here, a whole different gears, and Tosfos says unbelievable. Tosfos says something unbelievable. He says that a woman, even if a woman takes a pidyon from her own fruit, if the grapes belong to Prince Abela and the money belongs to her also, and she does her own thing, she's her own thing, she's her own boss, still she doesn't have to give choimish. Wow. In other words, choimish does not apply to women. What? So it is a gender thing. Why? Says something. I was like, my mouth was on the floor, like Jeff says. Basically, Tosfos says as follows: why do you really have to give choimish? Why did the Torah give this knas? I'm elaborating a bit on Tosfos, not word for word yet. Why is it really that if I'm putting my own meiser and I want to eat my fruit in Bet Shemesh and not in Yerushalayim, it looks as if the Torah is like, stoching me. Inconvenient. Well, yeah, but explain more. Because we really want people to go to Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is the eternal capital of the Jewish nation. Yerushalayim is what? Is Heilige Platz. Yerushalayim is holy. When you come to Yerushalayim, you see the Koyanim, the Beis Hamikdash, you get inspired. And the Torah wants people to go to Yerushalayim and learn Torah, especially your Torah level. Yeah, the Torah, Ki mitzion teitze Torah. So it says by a woman, there's no such thing. By a woman, she's not mechuyev to learn Torah. She can be inspired spiritually, but the Indian mitzion teitze Torah doesn't apply to women. Women don't have to learn Torah. So by a woman, there's no such knas. That's Tosfos, based on earlier sources. Bekitzer. So now we have a question like this: when do we find a case, please, in which there's a machloikes whether the woman has to give choimish or not? Mimanavshach. Either she's doing everything on behalf of the husband, or it's her own money. Where's that middle of the road case? Elalav must be, kihai gavna must be. It was the following case. The akni la'acher mone. Oh, again, similar case. A stranger, a third party, maybe her father, maybe her brother, somebody else gave her money, the Omar lo, and he told her, Al menas shetifti boyes amaiser. Ay, 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 ay. Look at that. Maybe somebody has told her, listen, girl, a woman also doesn't have her own money unless all kinds of things. Normally, a woman's money belongs to her husband. Here comes Mr. Smarty Pants, or maybe he's right. And he says, listen, lady, I'm going to give you the meiser money. Yeah, the pidyon money, to be more exact, not meiser, the gift from your salary, the pidyon money. And I want you to take this money only, it will be yours. You'll be strange to your husband. You're going to have a separate financial entity. You'll be the owner of that money, but not to buy with it ice creams or clothes or a new sheitel or new shoes. One thing only I'm giving it to you, and that is what? To be pointed the meiser. Very, very, very scaringly similar to an Eved, which somebody has told the Eved, I'm only giving you the money so you should liberate yourself from the master. And look what happens over here. Now let's see who's saying what all of a sudden. Says Tanakama, Eini shapoy de meiser sheni, beloy choimish. Says Tanakama, she has to give choimish, meaning it didn't work. If she has to give choimish means that trick did not work. And once you told the woman, this is your 50 shekels to be poida, right away belongs to the husband. Now she's using the husband's money and the husband's fruit. She's on behalf of the husband against the will of the giver. His trick didn't happen, and you have to pay choimish. You're working for the husband. And Rabbi Meir is the one, all of a sudden, who says what? I'm reading from inside. Isha poy the ma'aser sheni beloy choimish. Rabbi Meir says, yeah, that's a great idea. Wow, what a cool idea. Yeah. Yes, this woman is now the owner regarding Pidyon, and therefore she's separate entity. She's a zal, she's a different person, and therefore you don't have to pay choimish. Ipcha, screaming. I wish I could scream, but it's not gentle to do that. The ipcha, you see just the other way around from the case of the Eved. Help, get me? Says the Gemara. You see just the other way around in both cases. By Eved, Rabbi Meir says that the trick doesn't work, and by women, yes. And in Chachamim, by Eved say that the trick does work, and by women it doesn't. Farvos, what's going on here? The ipcha sham'ana lehu. The ipcha sham'ana lehu. We hear them, we learn them, we understand them to be talking to be saying the exact opposite of what they were saying before. Question mark. Omar Abaye, Epuch. Abaye is an easy answer. Epuch must be the Brisa was wrong. I'm not sure if he wants to turn around the Brisa, or most probably the Brisa is right, and the words of the Amoira Blozor are the Epuch. Would like to change the words of the Amoira, not the words of, although the Amoira is explaining our Mishnah. Actually, I'm not sure anymore if it's the Amoira explaining the Mishnah or the Brisa. Brisas are less meduik than the Mishnah, but either the Mishnah or the Brisa have to be turned around. In other words, I think it's a Brisa. Your Brisa is wrong, and you have to turn around the opinions, and you have to say that really the ones who say that you give the choimesh is Rabbi Meir, and the ones who say don't give choimesh is Rabbanon. Are you good? Yes? So the Brisa, you have to switch. Your Brisa is wrong, or Brisas are not so meduyak. That's Abaye. Rove Omar, Rove argues on Abaye, Kedarkoi. Rove has a whole different solution. Again, let's not get mixed up over here. What are we looking for over here? To answer the question, we're looking to find another case of unclarity, another case in which one opinion would say you have to give choimish because you are like the husband, and the other opinion would say no, you're separate to the husband, so you don't have to give choimish. Says Rove, I have such other case. It has nothing to do with strange people saying strange things. Nothing to do with that. And you don't have to change you don't have to turn around and change the brisa. You don't have to break it apart. Rove Omar. La'olam lo tepuch. No. Don't break the brisa. Don't turn the brisa around. The hocha, you know the story is the meiser the osami beinasha askinan. Beinasha is her maiden home, the home she came from. Meiser sheni was something that she received is a Yerusha from her father. She's the only daughter, let's say, or one of a few other daughters. Yeah, there are no sons. She got Yerusha from the father, and part of the Yerusha, she goes to the house of her now, excuse my language, dead father. And now what? She sees there all kinds of things. There's a shas, and there's a sofa, and there's a table. And you know what? There's very nice, fresh looking, very enticing cluster of grapes. And there's a sign of them, what? Meiser Sheni. Meiser Sheni. So she was Yoresh Meiser Sheni. She already was Mafrich. Before his death, the father already separated the Meiser from the whole lot, from the Kri. And now she was Yoresh Meiser Sheni. Now, normally, if a woman receives an inheritance from her father, let's say, or grandmother, whoever, the money doesn't only go to the husband and not only to her either. The money should, ideally, there could be all kinds of agreements, but normally what you do with it is you turn it into Nichse Milug. Nichse Milug means what? You buy with that an apartment or something else that produces money. Yeah, let's say there's enough money. You sell the grapes, you sell the computer, you sell the sofa, you sell the whatever. You buy with them a small apartment or a big one, I don't know, or a flat. And now what happens to the apartment becomes Nichse Milug. Anybody wants to know Nichse Milug? The body belongs to her. The apartment belongs to her. And the cash belongs to him. He cashes the payros, the fruit. Oh, very nice. What does that have to do with anything? Oh, the question is, when a woman inherited from her father the Meiser Sheni fruit, the grapes or the wheat or the barley or the whatever, who is now the owner? Why should it be different to anything else? Listen to this. Rabbi Meir l'taimei. Rabbi Meir follows his own reasoning. It's a Mishnah Daf and Beis, I think. The Omar. Meiser Momoin Hekdeshu. Rabbi Meir has a very interesting shita. Rabbi Meir says that Meiser Sheni, does not belong to anybody. It belongs to Hashem. When you give Meiser Sheni, you separate the Meiser Sheni from your backyard in Bet Shemesh, yeah? And now you're supposed to take it to Yerushalayim. You are not the owner of these grapes. You're supposed to eat them in Yerushalayim or be poida. You're not the owner. Very, very clear enough kamina in the Mishnah. If you're a man and you have those cluster of grapes, you cannot be mekadesh a woman with that. You're not the owner. Mamen gavoha, mamen hekdesh, she belongs to Hashem, and Hashem said, "Be a good boy, eat it nicely in Yerushalayim or be poida." But it's not yours. It's yours only to eat, but it's not really yours. And therefore, veloy, I'm continuing the Gemara, veloy kani le Baal. Therefore, the Baal is not the owner. The Baal cannot own something that belongs to Hashem. With all due respect to the husband being on top of the game, but the husband is not a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So he's not the owner of those grapes, and therefore what? Very good. Mimele says Rabbi Meir, we're talking here about a cluster of grapes that belong to who? They clearly belong to her. They belong to her because the husband wasn't koine, according to Rabbi Meir. So now she took her money. She took his money, and her grapes. Then what happens then? Beloy chomish, says Rabbi Meir. Beloy chomish. You know why? There's no condition given by anybody. The mere fact that this Meiser Sheni belongs to her from Yerusha, the husband doesn't touch it. It's exclusively hers. It's a Kodesh Baruch Hu allowing her to use it. Yeah, the husband has nothing to do with this cluster of grapes. Bichlal. So who's the exclusive owner of the grapes? Hashem and her. Now the money belongs to the husband. That's two different people. And Mimela, of course, we say no chomish. If it's a strange person, no chomish. That's Rabbi Meir. The Rabbanon, what did Rabbanon say? Rabbanon say no. Rabbanon say Meiser Sheni belongs to you. Hashem said you should only eat it in Yerushalayim and not in Bet Shemesh or in Haifa. Very nice, but it belongs to you. If you're a man, be mekadesh woman with a Meiser Sheni, no problem. Because it's mom and Hediya too, and she received it by Yerusha. It's just like the computer and the sofa. What happens with it? The Kani le Baal. The Baal is now the owner as Nichse Milug. Since she's using the money of the husband to redeem the Kedusha of the cluster of grapes that she inherited and is now owned by the husband, regular money, it's his money and his grapes. She's doing his shlichus like a tatele. Mimele now, of course, they have to give choimesh. Very nice. So there is no stira. According to Rava, there's no stira. Again, let's repeat, let's revise. Of course, we remain with our original idea. And that is, if a person I'm following Rava now. Rava is, as you know, always la halacha more than a bayit. According to the maskana so far, and that's, by the way, the end of the sugya. If a man or a woman, if somebody tells an eved, you get this sum of money, I'm giving you, please receive this amount of money on condition that you will only free yourself with the money, you'll give it to the master later on, not now, you'll give it to your master. According to Rabbi Meir, that's one big joke. You can't do that. It's like striking a match, expecting the flame not to come out, with good quality thing, doesn't work, and therefore, once you said kni, belongs to the master, okay, now what happens next? That's Rabbi Meir. No, you can make such a condition. Kni, I'm giving it to you. You're not the real owner. You are just the very partial owner to do what I want with the money. So it's not full ownership. Yes, you can do that. The Eved is now owner of the money only for one purpose. He'll give it to the master. He'll be free. That's Rabbanon. And there's no contradiction. In the case of the Meiser, we saw the opposite. No. The case of the Meiser has nothing to do with that. The reason why there's a case, in the case of Meiser, Chachamim say you give choimish, and Meir says no choimish, is because over there the question is not that another person gave the money to the woman. That wasn't the case. If that would be the case, they would have said exactly the same as they said over here. Over there was a whole different case completely. Over there the case was there was Meiser Sheni that she received as an heiress. She received that by Yerusha. According to Rabbi Meir, it's Meiser of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore the husband has no ownership over it. Who's the owner? She's kind of the owner of B'Shem Hashem. He belongs to Hashem, and the husband never has any shaykhis to it. She's the one who's going to go to Yerushalayim. She's going to eat it, And now what? And now the husband has nothing to do with it. If the husband says, okay, take my money and do your meiser, do your pidyon, then she's a stranger, right? money of one person, cluster of another person. You don't have to give meiser. You don't have to give the extra chomish. Say who? Says Rabbi Meir, Mamen Gavoya. And Chachamim say no. Meiser belongs to the owner, which in this case is the husband, because he inherited from, once his wife inherited, it's his nichse milug. If the money belongs to the husband and the cluster of grapes or whatever Meiser Shen is the husband, everything's the husband's. She's just a shliach. And therefore what? We say, of course, she has to give chomesh. Very good. The Paris is his, the usage is his, Lamais. The nichse, it is his. The nichse milug, the usage, the eating is his. The nichse milug, the karka, but the usage, the maisedika belongs to him. Sometimes it is not true. Sometimes it's physically parents. Not always. No.
It's the interest, the dividends, whatever you want.
I always translate nichse milug to modern day terms. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Maybe I'm exaggerating. No. We see many times person with physical Paris. If the woman has a field and the field yields fruit, very, very nice Jaffa oranges that belong to him, he eats the fruit. He's supposed to support his family with the Paris. He eats the Paris, yeah. He eats the Paris, and but I mean, he cannot change the land. He cannot sell the land. He can't do all kinds of things. But she eats the Paris. I would really, really like to continue. Yeah, that's. In which case, in the first or second machlokas, in the machlokas, the first machlokas, no, like Chachamim, Tana says the Brisa, a whole new topic, exciting topic about a slave, an Eved Knaini. One of the ways of the Eved Knaini to redeem himself is by Tana Yoitze B'Shen V'Ain. If the Odoin hits, smote and actually cut off his Shen V'Ain, right? Nice English, smote. Shen V'Ain, let's say he knocked out his tooth or his eye, Lo Aleinu poked out his eye, then the Eved goes free. We will see later on in the Sugya which other organs are there. Roshe Evorim, the heads, the tips of the Evorim, think of fingers and toes. That definitely also nose and ear. They all have extremities, right? Like this, that, yeah. If he knocked off and he cut off his fingers or his toes or the nose or the ears, all these things, 24 Evorim, she'enan choizrim, they did not regenerate, as opposed to maybe as opposed to hair or or nails. Yeah, things that unless nowadays you can make an operation, but normally they don't naturally regrow, right? So if he gave a good smack and the Eved lost one of these Evarim, David goes free. I just want to read you now Tosis, which I told you before. Look at Tosis first, a very short and sweet Tosis at the bottom of the page. Tana Yotze B'Shen V'Ain. Tana Didan Delo Tana Lehu. Why did our Tana not mention it? The Tana said, our Mishnah, our very own Mishnah told us, how can an Eved go out? Kesef and Shtar. Why not 24 Evorim? Says Tosis, Mishum Desova, the Tzorch get Shichur. Our Tana believes that just by smacking his and cutting his 24 Evorim, it's not enough for him to go free. The Odin still has to give him a get Shichur, has to give him the document saying that he's a free man. B'Shenken, B'Kesef, and Shtar, B'Kesef, apparently you don't have to, according to this opinion. Right. Let's see. Frek the Gemara. Dishlam Shen V'Ain Ksivi. Shen V'Ain are written. It says, V'chi. I'm reading from the pasuk from inside. It says over here, V'chiyake Isha Sein Avdos in En Amosoi. If the man hit the eye of his Eved or his Ama, V'shichaso, and he destroyed it, you should set him free under, instead of the eye. And there's another pasuk for the tooth. There's a mefurish pasuk about an eye and about a tooth. If you knock them out, knock them off, you have to now let them go. So, Rosh Evorim in Oland, I didn't know the Rosh Evorim. The Torah does not say anywhere, I promise you, not such a big book in Chumash, you can look all over Chumash, it does not say anywhere in the Torah that if you cut off Chas v'Sholem the fingers of an Eved or Nama, they go free. So where did he come up with that idea from? How do you know that from? Says the Gemara, Dumi de Shen V'Ain. It's logically similar, by our own understanding, it's similar to Shen V'Ain. Shen V'Ain are just examples. Ma Shen V'Ain mumin shebagolui ve'enan choizrin. Just like Shen V'Ain are examples in the Torah and they have a common denominator. They're golui, they're exterior, they're visible. Everybody can see your eye and your tooth. Not everybody can see your pancreas. Yeah, they are out. They're exterior. Vein and choizrin. Yeah, they're irreparable. If his eye is knocked out or his tooth can't bring them back. I've called mumin shebagolui vein and choizrin. So too other mumin, other blemishes which are exterior, visible, and irreparable. Those two, it's like a binyanav. Yeah, makes sense. It's all the same. Correct the Gemara. Wait a second. The Ema, I would say otherwise, says the Gemara. No. Nehevu shen ve'ayin ketshne ksuvim aboim ke'echod. Why did the Torah repeat the same idea twice? If you want to tell me it's an idea, an example, a prototype to a bigger or greater idea, the Torah could have written just shen or just ayin. Why did the Torah repeat the same idea twice with two examples? One shen and one ayin was still in Amud Aleph, yeah? Shen v'ayin, there are shnei ksuvim aboim ke'echod. These are three lines from the bottom of the page. There are two ksuvim, two halachos that are coming to tell me the same thing twice. The chol, listen to this big rule, which we're also going to see in Perek Sheni. The chol shnei ksuvim aboim ke'echod ein melamdin. Yeah, every shnei ksuvim that come to tell me the same thing again and again do not reflect on other things. They do not teach me other things. Yeah, I'm going to read Rashi now and explain it to you because it's a very important rule. Says the second to last Rashi, the penultimate Rashi in the page. En melamdin mideloi ksiv echod v'nigmo kulo minei. If the Torah wants to give me an example, give me one example and nigmo kulo minei. If the Torah wants to tell me a concept, a general concept, if you hit your Eved, you're so cruel, you hit your Eved in such a way that he, lost his ear or his tooth or his eye or his toe, let him go free. Give me one example. Yeah, let's talk about drinks. Give me one example, whiskey. And there are drinks, seder. But if the Torah repeated the example twice, different examples, that's like closing an electrical circuit. It's a plus and a minus. It's only closed for these two examples, right? Because if you want to give me an example to the whole Torah, give me one example, and then I would know automatically. I would go free with my own logic and compare any other case to that one case of shen or ayin. If the Torah said shen, and then the Torah told me again ayin, that is to say the Torah is being specific and talks only about shen and ayin. Others, why the second example? If the Torah chooses and picks, one and then another one, that is to say only these two and not the others. Because if you want to just give an example for the whole Torah, give me one example. If you gave me two cases, means they're not examples. The exceptions to the rule and not the rule. That's what the Torah repeated and says this and that. Right? Imagine yourself, I talk to a group of people and say, you come over here. Okay, everybody can come. But if I say I'm picking you and you, that is to say nobody else. And that's time take someone, for example. Then you have to find common denominator only between them and not anybody else. And Mimela, the question remains, and we're all in unbelievable suspense over here, cliffhanger. We do not know, how does the Torah know, how does the Brisa know that all other Evorim She'enam Choizrim, all the fingers and the toes and the nose and the ears, a bris milah, breasts, all kinds of things. Yeah, we're going to see a big party over there. Yeah, all these things, how do you know that they're all in the party? Because it says shen, fine, very specific, only these two. How do you know about the others? What? Left out means that they're not examples. Left out means that they're not included. And therefore they should not be included. Think of what you're saying. Atzlocha bracha, thank you to our Torah Anytime viewers, YouTube channel, and everybody else. Thank you and welcome to the new participant in the email list. You know who you are. Atzlocha ubracha, thank you. And have a great day. Shalom alisol. These airplanes up there are heralding the coming of Mashiach.